Good evening, everyone. Today we have Jessie Henderson Delgado. She's the Cooking Matters Program Manager at Care and Share Food Bank. Jessie is grateful to be with Cooking Matters at Care and Share because she loves to share tips and recipes for healthy eating. Jessie obtained her degree in nutrition from Arizona State University, where she worked in research for the College of Health Solutions, studying ways to increase children's fresh fruit and vegetable consumption. Before getting her degree and moving to Colorado, she worked as an educator in Phoenix for 25 years. Jessie is a music enthusiast as well as an outdoor enthusiast and a proud mother of 5. Thank you, Jessie.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Have you been out in the snow or you've been all camping at home? Out in the snow, okay. I saw one thumbs up. Okay, so today's class is called Money Saver Alert. So in the last class, we talked about how to save money while we're shopping at the store. So the difference with this class is we're trying to talk about how to save money after we've gone shopping at the store. So using all the ingredients that we've bought to make sure nothing goes to waste, how to save and store ingredients that we can't use right away. And then also a little bit we'll touch on if we have time at the end about when we are with our kids and we're trying to get them to eat new foods, how are we going to get them to try new foods without that going to waste as well? Okay, so we're going to start immediately. We're going to have a lot of breakout sessions today. So first of all, what we want to do first is I want everyone to take a second, go to their refrigerator, and take a peek and see what ingredients you have in there that are on their last leg, that are going bad, that need to get used up. So I'll give everybody just a few minutes, okay? We can throw those in the chat, and then we'll have a challenge when we get everybody back together. Aisha, we will do, I have it here, 5 breakout rooms. Okay, so we got mushrooms, green onions. We're gonna talk about green onions, that's good. Lettuce, fresh fruit and veggies. Cilantro. Okay. Bell peppers, celery, black beans, peppers, eggs. Bell peppers. Asparagus, butter. So a lot of veggies, okay? And we heard from some parents in other meetings that veggies are one of the things that cost so much, right? That's something that we we have to spend so much money on getting produce. Okay. Okay. So what we're gonna do in our breakout groups is 2 separate things. Okay, so in your group, you're gonna, as a group, see what items you have. So everyone has 1 item, so you'll have at least, should have about 4, okay? And then we're gonna say, how can you use 4 items before the end of the day tomorrow, okay? So we're gonna, someone will be in charge of taking notes and make a list, okay? And then together, I want you guys to estimate how much money all those items cost when you bought them new, okay? And then how we're gonna use them in the next day. So we have 10 minutes, okay? And with 4 whole ingredients, you're gonna have to spend some time and think of how to use all of 4 of them. Okay, so how did we do? This is a little bit different than our menu planning breakout sessions because it's just about getting that stuff used up. So while I was looking over the chat while you guys were gone, I thought of 1 recipe that could use everything but 3 of the ingredients you listed. Let's hear from group 1. What did you guys come up with?
So I was in group 1. We had asparagus, ground turkey, peppers, and a spring mix. And so we said taco salads would be great. Our cost for all those ingredients was about $16. And we figured it could feed at least a family of 4, maybe more, just depending on if it's teenagers or not.
Okay.
So like for mine, it would probably just be my one teenager that would eat all of that. But, but like one of the other group members has a family of 7 and they're like younger kids. So it would probably feed hers with the 2 pounds of ground turkey and stuff. So that was kind of what we came up with, was just taco salads, and we'd cut up the asparagus as well and put it in.
Okay, I think asparagus would go in a taco salad. And so with that $16, so keep that number in mind and think about what else you could spend $16 on.
Right.
Okay, we'll hear from group 2. Who's our speaker for group 2?
I don't know if we were group 2. I think we were group 5, but maybe we were group 2.
Okay, we can go ahead.
I don't know what group we were. But for our group, we had mushrooms and green onions and chicken and carrots. And all of us had pretty much used some of those items. So we tried to kind of guess how much we had left. So for the cost, we only used, like, the mushrooms were 4, but they're like halfway gone. So that's about $2 for the mushrooms. And then the green onions were about, 50 cents. And then the chicken is about $4 and the carrots were $1. So that's about $7.50 for how much would be wasted. I don't know how much it would have cost if we'd have done the prices with all of it. But
Yeah.
what we figured.
Oh, no, I'm saying it's good that you use what you had left over to calculate the price, because that's what it would be wasted. Yeah.
Yes. And we figured a few different things, but one of them was a stir fry, which would use all 4 of those, the mushrooms, carrots, green onions, and chicken, or a fried rice, and you could add those as well. And then another one was a breakfast omelet for the mushrooms and green onions. So that wasn't all of it, but there was just a few ideas there. So.
Good, yeah, stir fries, you can put anything in a stir fry. And then with the that's the one with the egg, with the omelet. That's the one that I thought of too, with all the ingredients that were in the chat. That you can make a frittata. And we've talked about that in class. So you just saute all the vegetables and onions that you have left over, and then crack your eggs and whisk them real fast and pour them in that skillet, and then throw it in the oven or a baking dish, and then you have frittata, like a crustless quiche. Yeah, omelets are great.
Yes, I agree.
Omelets can be used in everything. Okay, who else?
We were group 4.
Uh-huh.
And we had some pretty good people in our group that didn't keep their food from going bad. So we just thought of something. If we had carrots, mushrooms, onions, green peppers, potatoes, we kind of used the full price with that. So we came around about $10, $9.97. And we decided to make a vegetable soup.
Okay. Good, and then that can last like more than one meal too, the soup.
Yes.
You said it was about $10?
About $9.97, yep.
Okay. So we have 3 groups so far. We got 2 more. Who hasn't gone? Anybody from the other groups want to share?
I don't know what group we were, but we all forgot that we were supposed to do the money aspect of it. But we had asparagus, green peppers, spinach, and strawberries. and ham, lunch meat ham. And we thought about doing a omelet with strawberries on the side.
Delicious. Yeah, omelets are those key ones. That's good. So I'm looking at asparagus, peppers, spinach, strawberries, and ham. I would say 2 cents, $1, $2. So I'd say that's about $10 as well. Okay, so we have one more group. Does anybody know who's in the last group?
Did the group that I was in go? I was getting rid of some kids, I think, so wasn't
Nope.
listening.
No, we haven't. I think ours was pretty simple. We had what? Shredded lettuce, bell peppers, spinach, and what else?
Mine was spinach.
Mine was bell peppers. Sorry, I have a kid who's trying to get on an interview, so I'm going back and forth between.
I just
You're
know that
good.
we came up. I just know we
What
came
was
up
your
with,
dish?
we just came up with a big salad because basically all we had was veggies. So, yeah,
That's good, and that's a good appetizer. It may not want to fill you up, but it would keep those things from going to waste, right?
or you could add a protein to it for a meal.
Yeah, you could add some rice or beans to it to make it more filling. Okay, so just thinking about that. So between the 5 of us, imagine if we did this every week, we have saved 20, 36. And then how much you say your group was just some vegetables, so probably about $40. So let's, just for fun, say we save $40 this month now by using all of our leftover ingredients as a group, and throw in the chat what you're gonna spend your $40 on. If you're gonna save it, are you gonna buy more vegetables, or are you gonna spend it on something fun for the kids? Gas money, there's a good one. Gas and rent in Colorado Springs. Ooh, date night, how fun is that? So is that worth using up those little extra ingredients and having a few omelets during the week so you can have a date night? Yes. Okay, beautiful. Okay, I like reading these, but I'll keep going. Okay, so I'm gonna go over the handouts really fast. So in your email that you guys are gonna get, there's a handout that we have about stretching ingredients. And on here, it gives you ideas for all the hard to use ingredients. So I'll just throw out a couple examples. For bread, it's bread pudding, French toast, stuffing, or croutons. Rice is also rice pudding, but they have a bunch for fruit. You can use muffins, quick breads, cobblers, pancakes, cereal toppings. I think you guys came up with all the veggie ones for soups and salads. But yeah, this is a really good handout in your packet, okay? Also in the packet is a lesson on freezing vegetables. So does anybody freeze any produce to keep it from going bad? If you do, you can unmute or put it in the chat. Renee says yes, Amanda says always. Beautiful. So some of us say no. Okay, so we have in here a handout of how to blanch different fruits and vegetables. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys a quick demo. I'm going to put my boiling water on. Okay, so in this handout, it's called Freezing Fruits and Veggies. Okay, and so when we can't think of something to use up those ingredients, but we know they're going to go bad, we can actually chop those up, and we're going to dip them in boiling water for just a few seconds. And in your handouts, there's a chart that tells you, depending on the vegetable or fruit, if you have to blanch it and for how long before you freeze it. So I'm gonna go through that really fast. I will take down my PowerPoint. And then Aisha, if you could pin me or make me big, or I might be able to do it. I'm big, okay. All right, so in our Care & Share freezer, I found some celery, and this celery, you can see it's like already falling over. It's not gonna make it. So this one is too late to save. This one is not gonna make it. So I'm gonna show you what we can do with this one. Instead of blanching it. For the carrots, so we can see a difference. So I have 2 carrots that are still very firm, but then I have some of these, like this is just beyond good. So we're not going to use these carrots, okay? But the ones that still have a little bit of firmness to them, okay, these are the ones that we're going to blanch. Okay, and then I also, these green onions are going bad, but when I was preparing for this class, I had some at home that were going bad, and I was thinking about that. So we'll show you what you can do with these ones as well. But for the blanching part, I'm going to put my cutting board down here. So these are all washed already, okay? In the handout that I'm going to give you guys are also 2. Okay. Oh, this is Care & Share cheat sheets for when we get food donated. So we have acceptable produce. Okay. And when, at what point that produce is unacceptable. So like when it's gone too bad and you don't even want to try to blanch it, you want to just throw it away at this point. So for carrots is if there is rot or mold. Okay, rot is the black part that gets really slimy, and the mold will show up as white on a carrot. Okay, but these ones are not rotted. This one is nasty, but these are still not molded or rotted. Okay, I washed them once. Okay, and just a little review of our knife skills from before. Okay, if I start chopping this up, these carrots are just going to go rolling off the table. So instead of chopping right away, I'm going to do lengthwise. Boom. Okay. And then we put the flat side down. Now these carrots are not going to roll away when I chop them. Okay. So you just chop them in the same shape of whatever it is you would want to cook with a frozen carrot. Okay. Remember, I'm going to tuck my hand that I'm not holding the knife with, fingers in, some in as well, okay? And when I'm just gonna cut like little 1/4 inch pieces of both the carrots. Boom. And then with our movement with our knife, if you guys remember, is down and forward. Okay, we're not going to chop this way because it'll ruin our knife. Okay, and it's a lot slower. So when you get this tip on the board and this down and forward movement, you can chop these really fast. So it's really only going to take me about a minute to blanch all these vegetables. Okay. So once my water is already boiling. Okay. Over here, I have hot water. I get the water boiling even before I chop up my vegetables, so it's ready to go. And then over in here, I have a big bowl full of ice water. Okay. And then I'm going to look at my chart, and I think for carrots, it's only 2 minutes. The idea is not to cook anything. The idea is just to kill that bacteria on the outside, so that way, once you unfreeze it, that there's some germs that are going to grow really quickly when it's getting defrosted. Okay, so the metal strainer, these ones, I think you can get these at Dollar Tree. Okay, but they're really super handy. So I'm not going to put this in the boiling water. I'm going to use it to scoop out the carrots when I'm done. But I'm only going to put these in for 2 minutes. Okay. If they change color, you start to see them turning brown, like they're cooking or getting that it's been too long. Okay, so we just want it to still have the bright colors. When you buy frozen bags of vegetables at the store, they're always like, they always look really super nice, or they should look super nice. So this is a way we can get that same look, keep the freshness, keep the color, and then use them again later on. So I'm gonna watch the time carefully, only 2 minutes on the carrots. When it comes to blanching, a lot of fruit doesn't even need to be blanched. Okay, so you just cut out all the good parts and freeze them. Okay, but this is saying not more than 2 minutes for peppers, 3 minutes for broccoli, cherries, blueberries, raspberries not needed, corn 2 minutes. So nothing is more than 3 minutes that we're gonna boil it for. Okay, and then when we take it out, we go straight into the cold water to keep that cooking from happening. We want to stop cooking immediately. Melanie's saying she would stir fry the celery with onions, and maybe rice would be good too, and then freeze that. So that's another option. If you have more time and you want to cook a whole meal, you can do that as well. But this is just when you know you're not going to use that in the next 2 days, but you know you don't want to waste it either. This is when we're going to blanch. So the carrots are still firm, they're still colorful, they have been in very hot boiling water for almost 2 minutes now. Okay. And they're going straight in cold water. And I leave a strainer in the cold water. Okay, so that is super, super simple. And then we also, so after we take those out of the cold water, if they're all wet and we freeze them, what's going to happen?
You're gonna get crystals on them.
You're going to get crystals on them, or they might stick together, right? So if we throw that on a cookie sheet, once it's cold, for sure, all the way, like stop cooking, I would leave it longer in the ice water than in the boiling water. Then I could just get a cookie sheet and lay those out on some parchment paper and or paper towels. You don't want the paper towels to stick to the vegetables, so I would say parchment paper, and then just let those dry. Once they're dry, then you can throw them in the freezer and they won't get the ice crystals or anything. And they won't be stuck together. Okay. So for my celery, okay, this is the other, my other saving the food tip. Okay, if this is not good, like Melanie said, I could still put it in soup. Okay, but I'm not gonna make soup in the next 2 days. So what I'm gonna do with this, I could chop these all up and blanch them and freeze them, but what I'm gonna do with the bottom here, okay, I cut off the tips and there's still little roots here on the bottom and stuff. So I'm just gonna put this in a glass of water and put it on my windowsill, and it will grow new celery that you can use, okay? Same with the onions. We're gonna make another recipe in a minute with the green onions, okay? So I'm gonna chop up. I'll take this part off. And if these green onions were a little bit older, I would pull off the dead leaves and make sure that underneath the leaves is not too slimy, okay? Because that slime usually means bacteria. Okay, so if it's a little bit slimy, but you're able to rinse that off really easily, that's okay. But I'm gonna start chopping the main part off. We're gonna use this in another dish, so I'm not wasting these ones here. Okay, and when then I get to the end with the little roots available, okay, I'm gonna stick those in a little shot glass. and kind of smush them together so they don't sink to the bottom. If you're totally submerged in water, it's not going to last, but as long as those little roots are in the water, then these will grow, and you can use them again another day.
Good evening. Thank you for calling the producer help desk. My name is Lisa, with whom I have the pleasure of speaking with.
We're going to mute you, Lisa. Okay.
Yeah, I think we just lost her.
Okay, I'll wait for her to come back in. I don't know what happened. All right, you guys. Well, while we're waiting for Jessie to come back on, does anybody have any questions? We have 3 coordinators present in this meeting. And so if you guys weren't able to meet with your coordinators last week, or you just had questions that have come up, I'm sure one of the 3 of us could help in the meantime. Oh, look, she's back. Let's see how this is gonna happen. Nobody? Well, that's a good thing.
I'm back. Not sure how that happened.
Me either. We missed you. We were having a comedy show and you missed it.
Oh, no.
All right,
I get to
exactly.
go to those quite often, actually. My husband does comedy, so
Okay.
I've seen enough comedy shows. But I'm sorry I missed you guys. If that happens again, I will sign on as fast as I could. Hopefully that wasn't too long. Sometimes once the office closes, the internet just doesn't seem to work well. Okay, so we were talking, I was just kind of summing up different ways that we can use our food and to not make it go bad. So we can use it up right away. Like Melanie said, cook it up and then save that, the part that's cooked. We can freeze them by blanching. Okay, we can plant. So I was talking about other foods that you guys can plant or put in water to regrow. So I was curious in the chat if anybody knows of any more of those. My chat is gone. So if you previously typed in something. Does anybody regrow vegetables? Potatoes, garlic. Yeah, so I'll talk on those 2 a little bit. So potatoes, in case you guys didn't know, when your potato starts to sprout and gets all kind of weird, you can just take that whole potato and tell your kids to go bury it in the yard, and next spring you'll have potatoes. Tomatoes and jalapenos I grew, those grow really well from seed here. You can start them inside earlier in the season. For those tomatoes and peppers, it has to get really hot. So keep them inside and sprouting as long as you can. And when they really need the dirt, try to put them out in like June or July. Garlic you can plant any time of the year. It doesn't have to be warm yet because it's like a root. So like the bulbs that you used to plant in winter that will grow, you can leave it in the ground as cold as it is all fall, all winter, and then it will grow into a plant in the spring. Onions. So the green onions, I leave them in the water until I have too many growing in water, and then I plant them outside, but you can leave green onions in water. Mint will just go crazy no matter what. So someone's learning you can regrow vegetables. Yeah, so one of the vegetables on the list was lettuce. So lettuce, especially if it still has that little root ball, like romaine. So that little bit of the romaine lettuce, I buy those 3 packs of the organic ones, and then I chop those down, and when I get to the bottom of the root, I throw those in water and those regrow, and those grow really, really well as well. Okay, who else we got? Lorena, your mom does tomatoes. Is that here in Colorado Springs? Avocados. Avocados would be really difficult to grow in a dry climate. They like humidity and they like heat. So I don't think avocados would go well here, unless maybe if you had a greenhouse, you could try avocados, pineapples, mangoes. I have a friend who lives in the desert of Phoenix and has a schoolhouse, and she actually grows mangoes and avocados at her schoolhouse. And yes, I have a list that'll be in the email. Okay, so I am actually sending you a list of 2 websites that had a list of all of these things. So one was very simple, and then one was like super complicated and had every single vegetable that you could possibly, it had like 39 vegetables that you could regrow, but it put them into categories. So it made it a little simpler. It was like all of these kind of vegetables you can regrow this way, all of these you can grow a different way. So those will be in the email as well. Okay. Okay, so regrowing. And then we were talking a little bit, because we still have plenty of time, about the kids. So with our kids, and we really want our kids to eat this healthy thing that we made, but we know they're probably not going to. Are we going to put a whole bunch of that on their plate and tell them they have to eat it? Melanie's shaking her head no. Okay. What happens if somebody put a whole plate of food in front of you that you did not like and they told you you have to eat this? Is that going to go over too well with you? Brian said yes. Maybe he's been in the military and he's used to having to eat whatever's. A lot of people, this just kind of not make them feel too good. Okay, so we want our kids to feel good, and it can take up to 8 tries of trying something new. So we give them a small amount on their plate if it's something new. If they want more afterwards, they can have more. And if it doesn't go well, we just say, hey, you can try it again next time. Maybe you'll like it. Our taste buds change, and a lot of times it's texture that kids don't like. It's not really the taste. So we can reintroduce new foods to them several times before we make them, or we have a feeling that we understand that they genuinely don't like it. A lot of times it's just the temptation. So Aisha, yes, they do change as adults. If you can remember, I'm trying to think of an example. Green olives. You cannot pay me to eat a green olive when I was a child. And I love them now. Senior citizens, yep, we lose the senses, and our taste buds kind of dull over time. So they can have like whole kinds of new foods that they never liked before because they can't taste them as well. Yes, and so having the kids help in the kitchen and getting them involved even in grocery shopping and trying new things. If you can have them pick it out at the grocery store and say, hey, what's something here you've never tried before? They're going to enjoy that a lot. Sometimes it can be pricey. So what's something here you haven't tried that's under $5? Because my children will always pick the most exotic fruit available. We'll spend $7 on like a dragon fruit that they may or may not like. Yeah, eating from the garden, that's a great way to get kids to eat the vegetables. Okay. But we just want to remember as to not waste is not to try to put a whole bunch of something new on their plate. Yeah, dipping sauces work really, really good. Okay, you guys can keep throwing kid tips in there. If anyone has a picky eater, you can read the chat. Okay, for our last challenge, before we do our recipe, we're gonna go into breakout rooms one more time. Okay, and then I'm gonna give you guys a specific ingredient that you can use in more than one recipe so that you can buy that and use that up in that week. Okay, so we're gonna do chicken breasts. We have a big pack of chicken breasts. We have the big pack of ground turkey. So that's 3 pounds of turkey. Lentils, okay, I'm throwing lentils and beans on there because if you can make those on Sunday, you can make a whole pot and you can have as much as you want for the week. So as many meals as you can find to use beans or lentils, but we're gonna stick with lentils because I'm gonna do some with beans. Brown rice for the same reason. Brown rice is something that we can buy and make in bulk and have a lot of it ready for an entire week, okay? When I was a single mom, I always made beans and rice every week, and whatever night I don't want to cook, boom, beans and rice are ready to go. And the last one is carrots, because carrots is one of those veggies that you can get very inexpensive if you buy the big 5-pound bag. The price drops extraordinarily quickly when you buy that bigger bag. So those are some of the less expensive, healthier ingredients. And so while I switch up the kitchen really fast, I want you guys to go into breakout rooms. I'll give you guys, we've done this a couple times, so we'll give you guys 6 minutes. This time, not quite as long, to think of 3 ways to use your ingredients. And let me see if I have this in the PowerPoint. Okay. So here are the items. Oh, I'm sorry, my PowerPoint's not up. Let me share my PowerPoint and then pull it up. Okay. So Aisha, if you want to do breakout rooms one more time, then I'm going to switch up my kitchen a little bit and we're going to do our black bean recipe. So good. It's my favorite.
You have a question in the chat. Raquel wants to know, are we using all of the ingredients in all 3 recipes?
No, I wouldn't do that to you guys. We're gonna, each breakout group is gonna have 1 ingredient. So group 1 is chicken breasts, like that, think about that big long pack. Group 2 is the 3 pounds of turkey. Group 3 is a big pot of lentils. Group 4 is brown rice, and group 5 is carrots. Okay. Okay, and while you guys are getting set up in your groups, I'm going to turn off my speaker so you don't hear me rearranging furniture. Yeah, you guys got, group 1 got kudos from Danielle. That sounds amazing. That sun-dried must, if you guys have a recipe for that, the sun-dried tomato, chicken, and rice, put that in the chat. Okay, Brian, Craig, Lisa, Melanie, or Renee?
Can't unmute.
We can hear you. We just can't see you, Melanie.
Okay. We came up with quite a few recipes with our ground turkey meatballs, because most people have, you know, a little bread and an egg and some kind of liquid they can make meatballs with. A meatloaf also, tacos, sloppy joes, and chili. So you can do anything with ground turkey that you can do with ground beef. And you don't have as much fat either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, turkey definitely has the least amount of fat. And I liked how you said people can, like with the meatballs, if we think about keeping stuff on hand in our pantry, like sometimes we want to clear out our pantry because it's getting crowded, but like you said, like breadcrumbs and things like that are really valuable. Keeping a stock pantry helps us make meals out of those things in a pit. And everyone always has pasta, so meatballs is great. Okay, Kelly's throwing her crock pot chicken recipe in the chat, so everybody write that down. Group 3, lentils. Lentils is a little harder. Not everyone is familiar with that, but there's some great lentil recipes out there. What do you guys got?
So yeah, someone in our group, had to Google it to figure out, what lentils was, and we figured out it's just kind of the general category for beans. So we use our, for us, it was all bean based. One is just beans and rice, and different ways you can do it. Southern style, throw in some seasoning and do a red beans and rice. Chili, with just a few other ingredients, some tomato sauces and ground beef usually, but hey, can mix in group 2's idea with the ground turkey, and then just either get shells or tortillas and do and some kind of protein, and do beef tacos, quesadillas, or burritos.
Mhm. Yep, and so lentils are the really, really little tiny beans that cook really quickly. So they are in the same category as beans, but what's really nice about them is that they can cook in like 20 minutes. So like beans, you can cook all day and they might not even get done still. But yeah, they're high protein. So it's nice that you thought of mixing it with meat to stretch your meat, but you can even make like lentil tacos and lentil chili just out of the lentils themselves, because they are a lot smaller than beans. It's not going to feel like fiber fest in your taco. And with the lentils, they're smaller. Also good over rice, yes. Fiber fest, yes. Some fiber is good for us, but some meals, if we're not used to it too much at once, can be a little overwhelming. But don't remember, if you try eating something with fiber in it and it doesn't hit you the right way, don't give up. It could just be you're just not used to it yet. Keep trying a little bit at a time. It's important for us. Okay, group 4 with the brown rice. I feel like that's so versatile. Scott Willis said Beano. Yes, I have a friend who is from Texas and she makes big pots of beans for parties, and she puts the Beano straight in the pot of beans. I don't know if you're supposed to do that or not, but I think it's pretty funny. She does it every time. Okay, brown rice group.
I didn't write it down. I think Annie might have, but like I know we talked about like rice goes with everything. So like stir fry over rice, like chipotle, like bowls type, like a homemade burrito bowl type thing. I'm not remembering all of it at the moment, but there was like a ton of recipes. Like you can do chicken noodle soup with rice. Yeah, but rice goes with just about everything. So
Do you guys have any ideas for non-dinner items in your group?
I actually don't remember. I don't think so, but I could miss
Did
something.
anybody grow up in a Hispanic
I had
family? in the
shared.
group? I didn't know about this, but when I married into a Hispanic family, so the rice that's used at night, they actually just leave it on the stove, and then in the morning we make rice pudding. So you add a little bit of milk, cinnamon.
I did see that it said rice pudding.
Mhm.
I did see that it said rice pudding. I don't know if it's something like we would eat at our house, but yeah, I did see that for like a recipe.
We
And
eat it as breakfast rice. We call it breakfast rice with milk and vanilla and sugar, warm it up, kind of like oatmeal, but with rice.
mhm,
So good.
so good. Yeah, it feels like a treat for breakfast with cinnamon and milk in there. Yeah, but so brown rice. So we talked in our other classes when we want to choose brown rice over white rice, but it takes so long to cook. But we want that fiber and those good healthy fats that are in it. So making a brown rice on a Sunday, when we cool it, we have to put it in separate dishes because you can't throw a whole pot, a big pot of rice right to the fridge because it won't cool down fast enough. It'll grow bacteria. So make a big pot, put it into a couple different containers and then refrigerate them. And then, like you said, it goes with every dinner you're gonna have. You can have a whole grain with your dinner if you make a pot of brown rice on the weekends. Okay, group 5 has a veggie, carrots.
Hi.
It's 5 ways. Go ahead, Holly.
We had a lot of different ways to use carrots, but our favorite one that we thought was carrot cake. So but no, we had a lady who mentioned that it's carrot raisin salad. And it's like a creamy white dressing with that. And then there's fried rice. And we had another lady who mentioned she makes carrot soup. And it's kind of like where you cook the carrots and then you puree them. And then you add some seasonings to it. And then we got carrot muffins and salad and carrots with maple syrup. And I mean, you can put carrots in a lot of things, I feel like. So.
Mhm. Yeah, and they're good. And kids tend to like them. I feel like that's an easy one to get kids to like. And like we said, if you can buy that 5-pound bag, if you're having a broke week, you can buy that 5-pound bag and then use it in so many ways over that period of the week. It reminded me, I was gonna write down the recipe and send you guys as well. And when we're having these classes, feel free to put any recipes in the chat. So I'll send you guys recipes afterwards, but if you have favorite ones that come to mind, I'm sure everyone else in the group would appreciate them. But I'm gonna remember the pineapple carrot muffin recipe. That's my favorite Cooking Matters muffin recipe. So I'll send that out in the email too. Okay. You guys all have awesome ideas. Okay, I'm gonna take down the PowerPoint. Okay, and then I want to try to make sure you guys can all see well. But the recipe that we're making is one of my favorite salads. It is a sweet potato black bean salad. And in this is exactly what it sounds like. It is sweet potatoes. You can steam them or roast them. Most of the recipes call for roasting them, but I think it tastes better when you steam them. Okay, so it is sweet potatoes, black beans. Black beans was another one of those dishes that you can make lots of use throughout the week. And it's red onion, lime juice, cumin, and cayenne. So it's pretty simple. Oh, and cilantro. So sweet potatoes, black beans, red onion, lime, and cilantro, and then spices on top. Okay, so these are the sweet potatoes. I said I like them steamed better. Okay, but if you want to roast them, all we do is we chop up the sweet potato into little cubes. If you're going to roast it, you're going to toss all those in oil and add your spices to that, and then put it in the oven for 30 minutes until they're brown and crispy. Okay, for steaming a sweet potato, okay, all I did is there's these little baskets that are so cool. You can get them at Dollar Tree as well, or actually they have them at Walmart for $1. I don't know if they have them at Dollar Tree, but at Walmart they're only $1. This one I'm taking back to Safeway. This one was expensive, it's like $15 one. But you just put this in the pot with the water up to the bottom of the basket, and then throw your sweet potatoes in there. This should be big enough, open up big enough for whatever size pot that you have, and then just steam them for 20 minutes. Okay, so I have that. Okay. I'm not sure how many of you guys have seen the cilantro trick yet, but it's my new favorite kitchen hack, so I've been sharing it in every class, so you might have already seen it. Okay, but quick and easy way to get the cilantro off, instead of, if you have a child at home, they can take time to pick it off. But if you have a colander, we just stick this stem through the holes of the colander and then pull, boom, boom, boom. Okay, and then you have just the leaves of the cilantro and your stems are left over. Okay, so this is a super fun thing to have the kids do while you want them to be quiet and you want to cook, give them this job because they can do it for hours and it's a lot of fun and it works really, really well. Okay. So I already did some of those. Okay. Onions. Okay, we talk about saving onions. We can take this end here with the roots and also put that in water and it will grow like a tall onion, but that takes a really long time. You can also take this and throw it in the garden if you want to as well. Okay, so I've already washed the outside. We wash the outside of our peppers and onions and garlic. We wash the outside of all of our produce, even though it looks like it has a wrapper. Once we cut through it, those germs on the outside can go straight on to the inside. Okay, so tops and bottoms, we're going to cut from the top to the bottom. Bridge cut this time. This is the only other cut we let the kids do in the kitchen other than our claw is the bridge. Okay. And then once we have the flat surface, we don't even need to do the bridge anymore. Okay, with my little skins are getting all over the place. Okay. Then I usually cut off the top. Okay. Some folks like to leave the little root end on because it holds the onion together and doesn't get all slimy when you're moving it. I think it takes a little bit more time. So I'm going to take that off. Okay. One way people want to cut this is you can put your hand like this and cut perpendicular to make layers this way. But like Shrek said, onions have layers. So if we cut kind of in a rainbow, it's going to go right along with the layers and we won't have to make that parallel cut. That is also one we probably don't want the kids doing in the kitchen. So some people leave this intact. I cut this off. Okay. Then I'm going in a rainbow across. Okay. When I get to this last little hunk right here, I tip it so I don't, I'm not tempted to try to hang on to that with my fingers and cut myself. Okay, and see that part where it kind of fell apart. If you had the roots intact, that wouldn't happen. But then when you cut with the roots intact, you have to go all the way to the tip like this and stop at the tip and then slice through. I feel like it takes a lot of time. But if you work in a professional kitchen, they're going to want to see that. Okay. So once we have our long cuts, which are our slices, now we're going to make our dices. So when we're cooking with the kids, we call it sticks and bricks, but we'll call it slices and dices. So you can get as fine as you want with this. So these are little tiny, tiny pieces. Or you can just do rough pieces, depending on how much you like red onion. I love red onions, so I don't mind the rough pieces. Okay, with this class being Money Saver Alert, okay, I'm only going to use half of this red onion. With the other half of the red onion, can I just throw that in the refrigerator and save it for later? Does anybody know? There's a food safety rule about this. I see Craig saying he wanted to mix the stems in with the cilantro. You can if you like them. Some people don't like them. I don't mind them. I'll leave them in all day, but my husband doesn't like them as much, so I take them out. And it used to be a big hassle, but with that trick, I don't. I'm not seeing anything in the chat about the onions, so I will tell you. Okay. So when these are all connected together still and we have cut through with our knife, this can grow bacteria really quickly, okay? So even in the fridge, it can still grow some bacteria, especially over a couple days. So what you're gonna wanna do actually is freeze it, okay? But before you freeze it, because it'll be hard to deal with that whole onion, finish chopping up the whole thing. And then once you're in the little pieces, freeze them in the freezer, and that will keep the bacteria from growing, okay? The onion, because it's just so wet by nature, that it does tend to be a food risk if you don't if you don't cut it up and freeze it. So again, I have a rough chop here. And then I have some olive oil for the salad, so all the flavors mesh together. I have a can of black beans that I just drained and I rinsed the salt off of, okay? And then I have my chopped up green onions and cilantro, and they're all just gonna go in a big bowl together. This looks super easy because I did most of the work already, but it's really actually the hardest part of this recipe is steaming or roasting the sweet potatoes, and that is really not that hard either, okay? But that's the most time consuming step. Everything else is super simple, okay? So I'm gonna give this a little stir before I add all my spices and juice. Olive oil. Okay. Knife out of the way here. Okay, for the lime, it says 2 tablespoons of juice, but I feel like as much juice as you can get out of 2 limes is good. I put in extra, I like the extra flavor of it. These cool things, the way this is shaped, like the lime, I thought you always put these in this way because that's the way it looks like it fits in the shape. But I was corrected by a chef, and inverting this and putting it in the way it doesn't look like it fits will actually get you more juice out, and it won't squirt out the top and get all over the bottom. Okay. So that was probably 2 tablespoons right there, but I am going to do the other half as well. Okay, and if you mix all these ingredients together while it is still hot, the flavors will like almost cook together, and then refrigerate it, and it makes a great cold salad. But I found if you wait for the potatoes to cool and then add everything, the flavors don't go as good together. Okay, so I'm gonna add the recipe I'm gonna send you guys says red pepper, but I love cayenne in case you haven't been in a million of my classes and know that already. So I'm gonna do a few shakes of cayenne. The cumin is better to include in the roasting step, but I still like it enough that I'm gonna include it raw in this step. I like cumin to be cooked down a little bit. I just think it tastes better. So you'll get the exact measurements in the recipe. But I think it's like 2 teaspoons or something. This, I don't know how good it looks on camera, but this is the most delicious dish salad. My favorite, everything. I can eat this. I can eat this every day. And I can eat it hot with brown rice as a dinner, or I can eat it cold as a salad. Okay. I see a question in the chat. Let me put this away and then I'll come right back over. It looks good, but it tastes even better. You guys want to try this recipe? Okay, and then I'll tell you my other black bean recipes that I'm going to send you as well. Okay. Yes, so those red peppers are great in this recipe as well for sweetness. It's really the lime So the savory, most of the ingredients are savory, and the lime adds like a tartness, so it freshes it up a little bit. But sweet peppers would add another flavor as well. Okay, so here's a question I saw. So what happens if you have a cold pasta salad with onions? Is that not safe to eat? The onion is safe to eat raw as long as it's been contained in its own natural container. Okay, and it's stored dry. Okay, what happens is once you cut it up, you're exposing that to bacteria, and because it is so moist inside, that bacteria will grow. Okay, usually the onion, we don't eat that. The outer part is dried, and with that dryness, the bacteria is not going to grow in the outer part, and the inner part is, it's like its own packaging, right? Like a banana or something, it's safe inside there, like citrus. So you can eat raw onions, you just can't store them in the refrigerator for a week and then eat them raw.
I think what she was asking is if you make a salad, you cut up an onion and put it in it, and then you have that salad in the refrigerator for 2 days. Is that not okay?
Well, okay, so then imagine those layers. So I think what's going to happen there is those layers are going to be separated. It's the onion being packed in together and having so much moisture is what grows the bacteria. So if you chop that up and the pieces are loose in there, they're not gonna hoard bacteria. Bacteria will still grow, but not so much that it's not safe to eat. I don't know all the 100% of the science behind it. I've just been told by several chefs that you never a whole half of an onion in there. You want to always chop it up and freeze it. Okay. I'm going to just verbally go through. Well, we have so much time, I could almost pull them up. That will take too much time. But so black bean and vegetable quesadillas. So this is my protein that I pick to use 3 ways. And so the black bean and veggie quesadillas is like a regular quesadilla with 3,000 times the nutrition in the quesadilla. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna, in a skillet, saute some spinach. You can maybe add some corn. Okay, and then you're gonna add some black beans and smash them all up. So it makes like a paste. So you'll have a black bean spinach paste. You can add corn to it if you want. And then you're gonna add that into your quesadilla as a filling. So between the spinach and the beans, and if you use a whole wheat tortilla, you're getting 3,000 times more nutrition than a white flour quesadilla with cheese. Okay, I did all the micronutrients. There's a whole bunch in that spinach. Okay. My second black bean dish, so if I make a big pot of black beans during the week, I can have my sweet potato salad. It's my favorite. The black bean and veggie quesadillas is one of my kids' favorite. And then you can make black bean brownies. So I'm going to send that recipe as well. And it helps if you have a blender. Okay, so if you get that recipe from me and you don't have a blender, my suggestion would be to throw nuts in the brownies, because the nuts will hide the texture of it's that bean shell, that outer covering, that if you don't have a blender, you'll taste that in the, you won't taste it, but you'll feel the texture of it in the brownie. And so when you blend it all up or you add nuts, the nuts hide that the shell covering. And then what was my third? Oh my gosh, there's so many black bean recipes. So Hoppin' John, the tortilla lasagna that I think we'll make next time because that is so good. You can throw black beans in that. But cooking those beans on a Sunday, having them for the whole rest of the week, we talked about beans as being the least expensive protein that you can get. And they are. It's 1 pound of beans makes 3 pounds of food. So that's 30 cents a pound for protein. I don't think you can find it cheaper anywhere. Wow, I was thinking the recipe would take a lot longer, so we have some extra time. Aisha, I'm gonna put the survey in the chat, but I would love to have you guys ask any nutrition questions that you guys have, because we don't often just talk about nutrition. We've been doing a lot of talk about cooking and saving and money. Melanie said she eat a lot of pinto beans. That's really good. Pinto beans are delicious. Okay. And then put in the chat any nutrition questions you have. And then I'm going to challenge, since we have some extra time while I get the survey out, I want to challenge everyone to put one of their favorite recipes that they're willing to share in the chat. And if you can pull up a link, that's super helpful as well. I'm going to try to pull up my survey.
I have a question, Jessie.
Uh-huh.
When I was talking about the onion containers, you know how if you go into the produce section at like King Supers and they have the container that's shaped like a tomato that's like locks tight, and then they have the container that looks like an onion and it locks tight. And I think there might be a potato one too. Like, do those containers work, or am I just spending like a lot of money on something like on a gadget that is pointless?
So I think those containers were great for a lot of things. Someone told me she found the berry one in the clearance section, but and I am not a chef, but every chef has told me you don't want to do that with the onions.
You don't want to do that with what?
With the onions. So the onion is like the exception to the rule. So I wouldn't trust that little container for an onion. But if you are eating it and you're not getting sick, no one's getting diarrhea, it might be okay.
So sad. Thank you.
I'm sorry. But just finish chopping them up. It's fun. And practice your knife skills and chop up that onion, throw it in a Ziploc bag, and put it in the freezer.
Jessie, something that I wanted to say with having food not go bad, this takes a little bit of time, but I tried it and it really did work, is if you fill your sink with a little bit of water and vinegar, and then you wash your vegetables, or sorry, not your vegetables, your fruit, like strawberries and things that go bad very quickly, and then you let them dry and then you put them in the fridge. When you get home from the store, I would say they last at least twice as long.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't know about the vinegar part. I know that vinegar is good for washing off the chemicals. So any pesticides that are on the produce, I know it's really good for that. But your step of drying, so letting the vegetables dry, washing them and letting them dry all the way, and keeping them in a container that will keep them dry will make them last twice as long for sure. Because that moisture is what makes them go bad so quickly. Like if you think about at the store, the lettuce, and then they're spraying all the spray on it to make it look fresh, okay? But once you take it home, all that moisture in there, it's gonna cause it to rot more quickly. So indeed. Okay, we got a couple recipes in here. So keep sharing recipes. I think I have the link, but does anybody have any more recipes for beans that they like? Here's the survey. Boom. Okay, I'm gonna get the code. What you have to enter when you type in the survey is E10458. Different beans together in the crock pot. It gives it a nice flavor. I like and not a lot of people think about that, but like when I make like apple cider, I like to use different types of apples. I like it when you can taste the different apples. I like it with beans too. I like to be able to taste the pinto beans or the black beans. Okay, Renee will be on here a little bit, so you can keep sharing recipes. You can keep asking questions. I'm gonna stay on here. I had no idea we were gonna be done so quickly. I thought if I didn't steam those potatoes first, we would run out of time. So that's why I did that ahead of time. The code is in the chat, so I'll put it in again so it doesn't get lost. E104587. Okay, and I'm gonna write down all the recipes I'm gonna send you. If you guys have any more you want in there, let me know too. I have pineapple carrot muffins, black bean and veggie quesadillas. I'd be curious if anyone wants to try the black bean brownies. It's a good recipe to do if you want sweets and you don't have flour, so you can make them without flour, which is really nice. And then Aisha, does she have a copy of the chat where we can take down the recipes?
No, but I will. Give me just a
it-
moment. I'm trying to take care of evaluation stuff, but I got you. I got you.
Yes, Bree. So when you make the black bean brownies with the beans, there's no gluten in it. It is, oh gosh, I wish I had it, but I think it's like beans, cocoa. As long as you can get gluten-free cocoa, which you might have to go to like get a special brand that's guaranteed no gluten. But yeah, I think it's eggs, beans, cocoa, and sugar. So simple. I'll send out the Cooking Matters black bean recipe, but you might want to try other ones on the internet as well, because I feel like the Cooking Matters one is too sweet. I had somebody else tell me, oh, it needs to be sweeter, but I don't eat a lot of sweets, so for me it's very, very, very sweet. But you guys might like it. I thought black beans would be dry, so I had thought about adding applesauce for sweetness, but this recipe, they weren't dry at all. They were good. Oh, I'll send you, did I send you guys the tortilla lasagna last time? That one actually doesn't have black beans in it, but you can easily add any kind of bean to it. You can add any vegetable to it. You can add so much to it and it's so good. And if you buy canned enchilada sauce, I know that's not really Cooking Matters, but it makes it very quick. It's literally saute all your vegetables, add some beans, you do layers of tortilla, sauce, cheese, the filling, and beans, and just do like that, but then you add enchilada sauce all over it. What's so good about it is that you can cram so many veggies in there. If you saute them first at it, they just absorb all the flavor and the kids don't even think about it. I had 2 teenagers in the class and we made the tortilla lasagna. They did not like any single ingredient going into this lasagna, but they liked the lasagna so much. When they were done, they took home all the leftovers. So I'll send that one too. What is Pollen? Super Cook app. Yeah, you can unmute if you want to tell us about this, about any recipes.
So that Super Cook app is pretty awesome. Like you just give inventory of everything you have in your house, or you can like kind of scan your cabinets, and it just gives you ideas of everything that you've logged in there for what you could make. And it's like super crazy helpful.
Nice. Super Cook. I'll check it out. Does anybody remember my tips for Googling recipes when you only have a couple things to make dinner with? not sure if I shared that with this group or that was in a previous year, but don't just Google one ingredient. So don't just Google black beans because you'll have 10 million recipes, okay? Google black beans and one or two other ingredients that you have on hand. So that way it'll narrow down the recipes and it'll give you recipes based on what you have ingredients for. Melissa Davis. I like anything with Rotella is so good, but cream cheese especially. Okay, so I want to challenge everyone to look at Melissa's recipe in the chat and tell me what vegetables can you add to that recipe, because that looks delicious, but we're missing, corn doesn't count as a vegetable, it counts as a grain more. Okay, the Rotel has a little bit of vegetables, but think about what vegetables are in the Rotel. What else can you put in there that would just mesh good? So it's black beans, cream cheese, Rotel, corn, and chicken. The Fiesta Ranch mix, as we have, I will send you a recipe for a natural ranch flavored dry powder. And if I can go get the ranch. Okay, so this ranch mix, super delicious, but it has quite a bit of sodium in 1/4 of a teaspoon. Okay, so and it has a lot of maltodextrin, which is more sodium. It has some gum. It has some things in it that are just not horrible, but not the best. And so I'll include how to make this with all natural ingredients, so you can make it yourself. I'm not in charge of when you guys are allowed to leave, so Aisha will make sure you have your attendance done before we excuse anybody, or.
Yep, hold on. Kirsten is.
I have the attendance. We still have the gift cards to give away, but
Oh, yeah, so you don't want to leave yet, you guys.
if
I
anybody
mean,
wants,
you have to, it's probably okay, but you don't want to miss out.
if you can, like just put your like a hand raise if you've already gotten a gift card. We're trying to figure out who's already gotten one, and then we're not going to give you 2.
And not my $10 ones, whatever the ones Deborah gives you guys. Everybody gets a $10 one. You have to go to the office and pick it up.
Right. Well, yeah, you get that one too. This is just an extra one.
Yeah, if you won the raffle.
The raffle ticket. Sarah Ballard, have you gotten one yet? Okay, you get one. And you get one. No, everybody gets one. No, not everybody does because I don't have that many to give away. Brian Whitlock, have you got one? Okay, and then I have one more to give away.